Even as the Ministry of Education portend that schools might open come October due flattening of the curve, parents and teachers alike have been skeptical concerning this move. As our reporter Irene Mwangi reports, some parents are calling for resumption of school come next year, with some embracing virtual academy to ensure their kids don't repeat a class.
Mid-March this year, the noise of children playing in the school field will be a normal thing that we are used to, and the absence of it in any school will raise eyebrows. But just like a dream, coronavirus pandemic shut down the noises in the classroom and the fields. If status quo had remained this time of the year, it will be the initiation of that term in many primary schools and secondary schools across the country. But the deafening silence in this classroom is the clearest indication of the brunt of coronavirus pandemic. In first world countries, virtual academy, where there is little interaction between the learner and the student, is not a new thing. But here in the country, the coronavirus pandemic opened the gate further for the infiltration of the system. We meet John, a teacher at Nifunze Virtual Academy, who believes that online learning might be where the digital era is taking us.
It's correct. Here we go. So the LCM of 8 and 4.
Indeed, it is an unusual model, gone from a hands-on, dedicated classroom instructor to a teacher who now uses video conference with her students twice a week, assigning activities virtually. No chalkboard or dashboard in sight, only cameras and lighting.
This system has made it as interactive as possible. We have one-on-one sessions with our pupils. Number 2, we have recorded sessions. This session that I teach is still recorded. It's one-on-one with my pupils. There is that pupil who is very far or in a place that at that time had network issues. So they will come back and view and watch the class.
Class 1, get in for a lesson.
Jubilee government, when it came into power in 2017, they had a 24.6 billion laptop project, which was touted as the answer to the missing piece of the digital skills and will have come in handy in the wake of COVID-19 crisis. But it collapsed because most schools lack electricity to power them.
We have laptops that are in store, just sleeping, in quotes, and if these laptops were issued just the way we issue books at the beginning of the year to the pupils, and then it would be a shared responsibility between the pupils and the learners, then these laptops and tablets would be used, especially in such platforms, because actually this is the current and the next generation platform. Now,
while other countries were embracing virtual academy, here in the country, One Roy started a virtual academy and dubbed it Nifunze Academy.
So this concept I started in school. It was like a project that I did in school way back in, it was actually 2018. Back in 2018, I did that project in school. So it's like I used to do it as a home tutor. Came up with the concept of home tutor. Doing actually when a teacher has somebody to tutor at home, instead of going to his place, you're supposed to reach a lot of people actually. So you just create a platform that you can reach many students as possible, and then you tutor them online. So we had so many friends, teachers that were coming in. We used to teach us by phone and computers. There were no professional cameras. Just teaching us with phones and computers. So when COVID came, we saw that there's a gap that we need to fill as teachers. So let's just come up together now, because more teachers were coming around from western region, others from Dagoretti, around Nairobi area. So we decided just to come up and form something that can be able to assist people.
In embracing the virtual academy, a disparity is clear as night and day. Only urban schools seems to have embraced it.
I'm saying in Kenya right now, since we've adopted this culture of e-learning right now, because I think people are going to go on with e-learning. The schools are going to resume on e-learning. Most of the assignments will be sent online. I see that Because Nifunze in 5 years' time, it will be an online independent school by itself. That's what I'm trying to say. Because you know there are some people who are doing homeschooling. We're trying to bring Nifunze to do homeschooling for the people. So that's the idea that we have as teachers at Nifunze, to do homeschooling, to have a virtual school actually. If that's the government can allow to have a virtual school, you don't need to go to school. You just come to school to pick what is important to pick.
Nifunze Virtual Academy is not the only platform to embrace e-learning. Embakasi East Member Parliament Babu Owino took a job on virtual learning immediately the pandemic hit.
We want to get all the children who are studying in the whole world. It's a global issue because we want to revolutionize education.
The Embakasi East MP alludes that virtual learning and homeschooling might be the way to go in the near future, if only the government will embrace change.
Appealing to the government, at least to make true the promise of the idea of the laptops that was supposed to be given to the students and ensure that internet is available in the whole country because we are now in a digitized world.
But even as the Ministry of Education intimates that schools might reopen next month, status quo in the new normal has revealed how education can be unbalanced. Ever since coronavirus pandemic became a part of us, education stakeholders, teachers and students have been talking about e-learning. To some, it is not a new mode of learning. To others, it is entirely new. So, do we want to see how children at home are adapting to this new normal? Come with us, we see how it gets down. We meet with Angel Biko, a standard 5 pupil in Media's Gold Academy, who is a beneficiary of the Nifunze Academy. How are you doing? Fine, thank you. In the new normal, she wakes up early in the morning, not to beat traffic and head to school, but to get busy with online learning. As a norm, she helps her parents with the chores, prepares breakfast, then gets busy with virtual learning.
It was tough at the beginning, but I slowly got used to it. I've been able to do the other topics that we did not reach, and while you're using the e-learning platform, you are taught by different teachers, so you understand many forms of doing your education. So when you're not able to use this form, you can easily use the other form.
We can't compare it with the one-to-one, the live sessions, but since now we just have to, it is the new normal that we have to adopt. I think that we should just adopt it, but it might be a challenge for parents. You know, there are parents who didn't go to school, there are parents who don't know how to read and write, there are parents who cannot access internet. There are also families who live in a small house, so each and every family has a challenge, a difficult challenge.
Even though virtual academy is being embraced, the face-to-face interaction cannot be wished away.
These 3 balls, 8.
I cannot see my teachers, and I cannot be able to ask the teacher to repeat the questions if I've missed them, and also I cannot sit with my desk mate or maybe play with my friends.
It affects them. You find that sometimes a child wakes up and she has a headache, but when you leave them to even just take money, go to the shop, buy something, they come back and the headache is gone. It means that they miss the outside world, they miss interacting with others.
The reality is different for pupils in Mukuru kwa Ruben who have been adversely affected by the pandemic, even as schools are set to reopen.
It has been very hard since the pandemic was announced cause unapata like kama kwa home zingine unajua kuna watu walipo background zao watoshani, unapata like kusoma ni shida, mzazi ameenda kazi, maybe kuna wenye kazi zao zili stop, unapata tuko na mom saa zingine ametoka nenda kibarua, like uko na mtoto kwa nyumba, jobs hujafanya, ni mpaka manage kufanya hizo house chores, so unapata ni hard.
It's been quite hard since school closed because now when we are at the house, sometimes we're called to fetch water, to do away with the dishes, and to do some chores at the house, so it's been quite hard.
Virtual learning is still a dream for them.
Mam smartphone yake ilikuwa imeangushwa na mtoto ikavunjika, sasa alikuwa tuna hii katululu hiyo. Alafu na dad yake ako job. So unapata hiyo ifote ya kuitumia hakuna, alafu tena bundles pia ni shida.
The problem was that bundles, sometimes the parent had no money for the data bundles. So you have to study it for yourself or sometimes find time to do some revisions.
These people who are having challenges with the internet, these people who are having challenges with accessing the gadgets, if there's somebody out there who can be able to get even 10 or 50 computers, as we are working with cybers, we've adapted some cybers. There's some people who've adapted cybers. They've paid the whole day for students to learn nifunze contents actually. We have social halls in each and every constituency. We can adapt that, get computers to those social halls. Let kids come and learn from that social hall. We will be able to provide the teachers ready.
Without a doubt, the potential loss of a whole academic year is still a reeling shock to some parents and children alike.
I felt it because, these girls are growing. And, there are the physical changes of which affects them. So sometimes we want them to finish whatever they're supposed to finish, primary level by a particular time, and then they go to high school at least when they're still feeling young. For the girls, I think girls are facing a challenge more than boys.
Hii mwaka nilikuwa naongojea like nitaenda secondary because in all my life nilikuwa tuna wish kwenda like a secondary school, nikuwe boarding away just from my parents, ni feel venye wengine feel, but ilibidi tu umezoea cause hivyo tu ndo life iko, hakuna chenye ungefanya.
The proposal to open school next month might really not augur well with parents, especially with the fear of second wave infection.
I think the best thing is we wait until next year. Because it is so risky, sometimes the numbers might be low, but the moment we open, children with infections, children have to play, and they come from different families. They might be affected once again. And it can be so difficult when a child is sick more than an adult.
Let's count this one. 1, 2, 3.
As they say, education is power and the tool that betters the society. But here in the nation, proper infrastructure to better the tool of virtual learning has remained to be a mirage. Irene Mwangi, KUTV, Nairobi.